Hello there everybody and welcome to Kerbal Koncepts with me, Mr. Redneck Einstein, who's turned Irish all of a sudden. This is the show where we find out what kind of crazy spacecraft we can build and get up into orbit. Remember, that's the aim, we want to get up into orbit. Now, if you remember in our last build, we had something smaller than this. We had a rocket with just the central 6 rockets and fuel tanks. Now I've expanded it to include the spider's webs. This looks like a spider's web. How you doing, Chrissy? Just to let you know, everyone, Chrissy's here too. And yeah, so let's go ahead and test this one and see what this does. I've called this Arachnophobia. It's kind of based on a spider theme. I want to create some sort of UFO-like structure, and let's go ahead and complete the test. All right, let's start off with a slow burn to start with. A bit more gas, and off we go. That's slow and steady. Can I tilt? Okay, it's got no tilting whatsoever, so it's purely take. It's quite steady, but the second rocket's out of fire. So if I fire, there we go. So there's the UFO kind of concept, where it spins round. The spinning is supposed to give it lift, but it doesn't apparently. So it's a bit derpy. Look at you going, whee! Alright, so that's not too bad. So let's finish that and go back to our vehicle assembly and expand upon that build. Okay. Now the next rocket I want to show you, which is a slightly different variant of this, is Arachnophobia 2. Now my thinking behind this one is do a VTOL, vertical takeoff, VTOL, and then fire the big solid fuel rocket and propel yourself along that way. So I've set action groups for this one. So number 1 activates the little tiny LV-909 rockets, and button 2 activates this big solid fuel booster. So let's go ahead and test that one. You really think so? With this crazy beast? Look at the state of it. Alright, let's not give it too much thrust. So press 1. Oh, it's trying to lift. Oh, bugger. Oh dear, it's going out of control. Fire! Oh god, oh god. Upwards, upwards. Wow, that's a catastrophic failure. I think back to the drawing board. Just as well we haven't got any Kerbals on board, eh? Right, let's see. So, after this one, I'm gonna show you the Arachnophobia Spinner, which is a pretty damn good rocket if I do say so myself. This is, well, you can see I've basically added some vertical struts, some liquid fuel tanks on top of them, some space tape to keep it all together, and some LVT-45 engines here. So yeah, let's see how we can do this. This is kind of steering me back towards the UFO. Alright, come on game, load. Okay, ready. Turn on our SAS. We don't want too much thrust. Put it up to about half. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Donuts. Whoa, yeah, that's got some heavy duty smoke right there. Look at that. Damn. Look at that effect as well. It's like a mushroom cloud. Now if I slow the rocket down, those should start plummeting through the cloud of smoke it's already generating, which is pretty cool, I think. We can go up again. See, that has quite a lot of control to it. You can see it's very steady. It's got amazing effects to it. That just looks so cool. 60 frames per second. Hopefully this is looking great to you too. That's about it. We're out of fuel now. But look at the velocity. How many G's must that thing be pulling? If you had a little Kerbal right inside there, he would be in big trouble, I think. Okay, we're going down. Ah! Oh dear. Mission unsuccessful. Okay, where can we go with this then? What can be the next variant of this? Let us see. The Arachnophobia Spinner. So then we want to look at a slight variation on it, because I thought the rotation on it was too fast, so I decided to stick with the LV-909 engines. They're exactly the same as the ones underneath it, so it's got VTOL and spinning capabilities. So have I set the action groups for that one? I haven't set it for these ones. So if we set these, excuse me, click on that, toggle engine. Okay, so 1 will make us take off in a vertical direction to spin us in a horizontal direction. So let's save that and go to the launch pad. Here we go. We are onto the launch pad. Are you ready, everybody? We turn it up to half approximately. Press 1. Thrust, get it to lift off. Now I press 2, and that's when we get the spinning capability. Look at that, that looks so cool. I'm surprised at the stability of it. I really think that's pretty damn good design. Veering off to one side. And at this stage, I was starting to think about building a smaller variant without the rotate properties that I could attach to the top of a rocket, and then once I'm in space, use that as some sort of interplanetary vehicle, which is should be a pretty cool idea of things. Let's just play around with this a bit more. Whee! Look at the effects on that. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da. That is pretty neat. But since what happens, as you can see here, is we have no more vertical liftoff once we have exhausted the fuel in these little fuel tanks around the outside. So, what I thought was, if we turn these currently rotating engines, which are firing right now, if we turn them to an angle, we could use them as lift as well. Don't worry, Kerbals, there's just some testing going on outside. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Okay, so the next one is the Arachnophobia Spinner. Let's go for the number 4. 3 and 4 are basically variants of the same thing. So there we go. Tilted the engines on their side and reattached the LV-T45 because I found that the LV-909 engine didn't give it enough lift. So let's save that, go into the launch and test this one out. Now this should theoretically give us lift from both sets of engines, as well as the spinning capability, which is in line with our getting to orbit and it being a UFO type rocket. So let's turn our thruster up again, turn on the SAS. There we go. So if I press 1, turn off the VTOL engines, you can see, hopefully, if it's not spinning too fast, that only the LV-T45 engines firing. Turn the thruster down, but you look at the spinningness of that. That is just epic. Love the graphics on this. It just looks pretty damn awesome, I think. But again, it doesn't have enough thrust or enough fuel to lift us too high off the surface. I think it's an interesting proof of concept. If there was some sort of, I don't know, way to combat gravity a bit more effectively without just using liquid fuel, then we may have a more suitable UFO. So that's LV-T45. I'm not going to crash it because I don't see any point at this stage. Now we need to build the next variant on that. Now what could we add to make that more interesting? Now if you remember what I said before was I was interested in building like a little tiny rocket in this form that I can attach to the top of a ship and use as a sort of interplanetary explorer. If I can just find it here, can you remember what it's called, Chrissy? The little tiny one. Arachnophobia. Where is it? Kerbal X. Cannot remember. Spinning Spider of Doom. One of my earlier attempts. Where is it? Where's the little mini one? Maybe I didn't save it. Well, anyway, here it is, Micro Spider. Yeah. Okay. Bear with me. So there's the Micro Spider. Now, if you see the size of that, that's really tiny. Now, just to give you an example and show you how big that is, something that you would typically want to land on a planet would, I guess, have something like that on it with some legs, which are over here. Let's say 4 of those. So you can see that would be like a landing module kind of thing. So technically, if we pretend we've jettisoned that in space, that's what we're left with, the Micro Spider. So if we go and test that, just as a proof of concept, I want to see if it's able to be steerable, if I can maneuver it in space rather than just blasting off in a straight direction. So what I'm going to do is just do a little launch off the surface of Kerbin and see how maneuverable it It is very tiny. Look at that little miniature thing. Let's zoom in. Alright, we don't want too much fuel. So much lift. Look at that. That is pretty neat. I could probably even land that again. Let's just land it just to show you. Whoa, we're going up and down. Anyway, so that's good. We won't bother trying to land it. So here we go. This is what I was after. Can we steer it? And we can. So I can rotate it. I can steer it sideways, left and right. Spin it round again. Obviously depends on the electric charge you've got. Solar panels will come in handy. But that is a pretty darn good ship. So if we manage to sort of strap some legs onto that as well, you could use that as a lander, perhaps even turn it into a rover or something, which I think is pretty darn cool. I'm just going to burn up all the fuel. Well, God. But as a proof of concept, that pretty much works in the UFO form and vertical takeoff, and it gives us a lot of maneuverability as well. So I think that's pretty cool, and we can definitely get it to orbit by strapping it on top of another rocket. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you for episode 2. Thank you for joining me on Kerbal Koncepts. I'm Redneck Einstein. Take care until next time. I'll see you on the next